questions. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After 10 years of deficit budgets that are inflationary, they've jacked the price of groceries, and Canadians are hungry, literally hungry, according to the report of Food Banks Canada, a report called Hunger Record or Final Record 2025. The Liberals have made lineups longer and longer at food banks, and people with 2 jobs or 2 incomes still can't afford enough food. Will the Liberals finally bring in a budget to make life and groceries affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader.
Oui, nous allons.
Yes, we're going to table a budget to make life affordable and food affordable, and I hope the Leader of the Opposition will support it, Mr. Speaker.
The Opposition.
We're not going to support a budget that balloons grocery prices like the last 9 inflationary Liberal budgets. According to Food Banks Canada, there are 100% more people using food banks. And one of them is Jacqueline Stone, a mother in Manitoba, who has 2 jobs but still can't afford food. She works at the grocery store, Mr. Speaker, but she can't afford groceries. What cruel irony. Will the government finally table a budget that's affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader. Well, the opposition leader is promising that woman a Christmas election. So I hope she'll be able to afford a Christmas dinner, because the opposition leader, 6 months after an election, is going to vote in favor of another one. I'm not sure everyone behind him agrees with that, but Mr. Speaker, the government will table a budget next week, and the opposition leader should support it, just like Food Banks Canada, who have supported all of our initiatives to make life more affordable, and the Conservatives voted against them.
After 9 Liberal tax and spend inflationary and costly deficits, Canadians are hungry. Hungry for an affordable budget. Hungry, according to a report by Food Banks Canada called the Hunger Count, which shows that there's been a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks since Liberals brought in numerous taxes on food. Will the Prime Minister finally, for the first time, introduce an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, someone recently said that there's early signs of progress, including easing housing pressures and new social supports that are offering progress. In fact, this person went on to say that ambitious poverty reduction strategies like affordable housing pilots and the Canadian Dental Care Plan and the National School Food Program are showing early promise. Guess who said that, Mr. Speaker? The CEO of Food Banks Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
If any of that were true, there would not be a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks. The numbers speak for themselves, Mr. Speaker, and that's after a decade of Liberal inflationary taxes and deficits that have driven 2.2 million people to the food bank. One of them is Jacqueline Stone. She works 2 jobs. She works at a grocery store, Mr. Speaker. She cannot afford to shop at the grocery store where she works. In her name and in the name of 2.2 million people lined up at food banks, will we finally get an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
So I just heard the Leader of the Opposition say that the CEO of the Food Bank, Canada Food Bank, actually doesn't know what she's talking about when she wrote the report that they're quoting from. It's really hard to follow, isn't it, Mr. Speaker? But I will say this, it's clear that the member opposite is driving for a Christmas election, and I really hope that's not true, because Canadians are counting on us to pass this budget, to make the school food program permanent, to increase the benefits that Canadians are working on for so hard for, including the announcement yesterday for service support workers.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
They want their budget passed, they have to make it an affordable budget so that there's affordable food and affordable quality of life for the Canadian people, including people like Jacqueline Stone. As I said, she works at a grocery store and can't afford groceries. We already know about carpenters who build homes but can't afford homes after 10 years of Liberals. This is the story she tells. She says, you find yourself going through the grocery store, grabbing what you need, and when you get ready to check out, you pretty much have to do an audit of your cart to see if you can afford everything. Sometimes you have to put things back. It's embarrassing and disheartening. People like her have been working too hard for too long. Will they get an affordable budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth.
You're here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives cannot have it both ways. They say Canadians are facing challenges, and yet they dismiss the ways of helping them get through these challenges. The same Food Banks Canada report they cite mentions the Canada Disability Benefit, the Canadian Dental Care Plan, the National School Food Program, the National Housing Strategy as steps taken to address the underlying conditions that contribute to poverty. When it comes time to step up, what did the Conservatives opposite do? They voted against these supports. They will have another opportunity to change their tune and support that budget. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, if any of those promises were actually coming true, we wouldn't have a 100% increase in the number of people lined up at Food Bank, a number that has increased again this year after this Prime Minister took office, promising that he would be judged by the prices at the grocery store. 700,000 kids, a record number, are lined up at food banks while they make phony promises that they never keep on the Liberal side of the aisle. Every dollar the government spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians who can't pay any more. The more Liberals spend, the more things cost. Will they finally bring forward an affordable budget for affordable food so Canadians can have an affordable life?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, so either the member opposite, the leader of the Conservative Party, wants a Christmas election, or he wants to deny what's in that actual report, which is to take action to make programs that are making Canadians' lives more affordable, stronger, permanent, and more generous, which is what we've done, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're doing, and we're going to continue to do it. In fact, what the CEO has said is that we're on the right track. We have to continue to move forward, and we really hope they don't vote against these things again.
L'Honorable.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, Canada, including Quebec, is entering one of the worst trade crises we've ever experienced. The Prime Minister has given everything up for nothing in exchange, and now, literally, there's a full-fledged squabble with the U.S. President. I'd like to know, and people need to know, what the government intends to do to restore decent relations with the U.S. The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade. Mr. Speaker, our colleague knows full well that our government is always willing to sit down and cooperate with the American government, with the ministers in Trump's government, and to negotiate what's in the interest of Canadian industries and workers. We are always available. The Prime Minister has said that repeatedly, Mr. Speaker, but meanwhile, we're not going to sit around and wait. We're going to make sure we protect Canadian industries, that we build a strong economy here in Canada, and that we invest in all necessary industries. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly.
Malgré les promesses.
Despite the promises and claims, the humble claims by the Prime Minister during the election campaign, things haven't gotten any better. They've gotten worse. With the tariffs on trucks and autos, 45% in tariffs and countervailing duties on forestry, on steel and aluminum, 50% tariffs. What do you have to say to the workers and to vulnerable consumers and investors who are being told nothing's going to change for a long time to well into 2026? The Honourable Minister.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, what we're saying to investors who are looking at the Canadian economy, what are we going to say to workers in Canada who are obviously concerned about tariffs? We're going to say that the government is there. We're there to support them, to invest, to take steps, to get major projects underway, to support industries affected by customs duties and tariffs, but we also are always ready to negotiate with the U.S. to put ourselves in a better economic position. The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Are we supposed to wait until the U.S. is in a better mood to talk? Meanwhile, there's inflation, recession, companies, plants closing down. There's nothing being done to make sure that Canada and the provinces speak from the same songbook. They're doing nothing about the loss in purchasing power. When is this government going to admit failure and cooperate so that we have at least a tiny chance of pulling something off? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc Leader knows full well that our government has always cooperated with our counterparts in the provinces and territories, with the captains of industry and with worker representatives. I'll be in Montreal this weekend to meet with Minister Fréchette to speak specifically about what can be done together, what more can be done to support Quebec industries and Quebec workers and all across Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The main promise that the Prime Minister was elected on was to negotiate a victory with the Americans. He promised a deal by July 21st. And now there's no deal, there's no victory, and U.S. tariffs have doubled since the Prime Minister promised to get rid of them. And he's blaming a Government of Ontario ad for the lack of a deal. Yes or no? Had the Prime Minister or his staff seen the ad before it ran? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the opposition leader knows full well that this government will not accept any old deal. We have clearly said that we will negotiate a deal with the U.S. government if it's in the interests of Canadian workers and industries. Canadians know full well that the opposition leader would have accepted any old deal. That's not Canada's position. We need to support Canadian industries and workers at the same time.
The signature promise on which the Prime Minister was elected was to, quote unquote, negotiate a win with the Americans, to get a deal by July 21st. And here we are, late October, still no deal, still no win, still no elbows, still no jobs, and American tariffs have doubled since the Prime Minister promised he would get rid of them. Yesterday, his latest excuse was that an Ontario government ad prevented him from keeping his promise. So, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister or his staff see the ad before it went out?
Yes. The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-US trade.
Mr. Speaker, I'll repeat the answer I just gave to the Leader of the Opposition in French, because he asked the same question in English. Our government, Mr. Speaker, was elected to negotiate an agreement with the United States that's in the interests of Canadian workers and the Canadian industries. Unlike the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, we're not going to sign whatever agreement the Americans might suggest. We're going to sign an agreement that benefits Canadian workers and the Canadian economy. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, we're going to build in Canada, we're going to invest in Canada, and we're going to support Canadian workers and Canadian business.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister promised that he'd have a good deal by July 21st. That date has come and gone. And his latest excuse is an ad from the Government of Ontario. He claims that's why he couldn't keep his promise and get a deal. So, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister see the ad before it went out?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I said a moment ago, our government is committed to working with all partners in our federation, to work with premiers in every part of the country, to work with union leaders and business leaders, to support the Canadian economy and Canadian workers, and to negotiate with the Americans for a deal that's in the interests of Canada. That's been the government position from the beginning. I'm proud of the work that we've done with all the premiers and businesses and union leaders across the country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, it's the Prime Minister who has said that the ad prevented him from keeping his promise and getting a deal. He claims he was on the verge of getting that deal. So surely if he saw an ad that would interrupt the deal, he would have said no and hit the brakes. So the question is, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister or anyone on his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to doing the serious work necessary to get a deal with the United States and to build a strong, resilient Canadian economy. That was the commitment we made to Canadians in the election. That was an election that the Leader of the Opposition lost because people didn't believe he would be serious in either supporting Canadian workers, Canadian businesses, or standing up to the Americans for a deal that's in the interest of all Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Being serious means being honest and telling Canadians. Did the Prime Minister
The member can continue, and we'll get a few extra seconds to make up for the interruption.
Being honest is a joke to these Liberals, Mr. Speaker.
There can't be too many interruptions because I can't afford that much time, but the member could continue.
Did the Prime Minister or his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-US trade.
Mr. Speaker, I can imagine the frustration that the Leader of the Opposition feels when he sees a Prime Minister elected to take this serious economic and sovereignty challenge with all of the seriousness it deserves. That's why Canadians thought the Leader of the Opposition wasn't up to that task. That's why Canadians chose a Prime Minister who takes serious issues seriously, who will defend Canadian workers and Canadian businesses and stand up for the right deal for Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Prime Minister says the reason he doesn't have a deal is because of an ad. Did he or his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Again, Mr. Speaker, I can understand the Leader of the Opposition may be frustrated for a whole series of reasons. He's got a caucus meeting coming up this week. He may be very concerned about that as well. Mr. Speaker, what I can tell the Leader of the Opposition and all colleagues in the House to doing the difficult, serious work necessary to build the strongest economy in the G7. That starts by supporting Canadian workers, building big in Canada again, and doing everything necessary to get the deal with the Americans that will be in the interest of Canadian workers and Canadian business.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, there are 100,000 more Canadian workers out of a job since the Prime Minister promised to protect their jobs. He says that they're going to get the best economy in the G7. It's the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. I met with auto workers in Windsor over the weekend who are terrified that the Prime Minister's failures are going to cost them their jobs. He looked those workers in the eyes and he said he would have a good deal by July 21st, and he broke his promise. Now he's blaming an ad. He has a duty to say whether or not he saw the ad that he says blew up the so-called deal he had. So will he do the honest thing and answer the question, did he see the ad, or is it actually his incompetence?
The honourable minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade.
Mr. Speaker, just because the leader of the opposition keeps asserting the same fake premise doesn't make it real. What is real, Mr. Speaker, is the government of Canada can control certain things. We can control investments that we make in partnership with Canadian businesses and Canadian workers to build a strong economy here. We can work with provinces and territories, as we're proud to do, to defend the Canadian economy and to work with the United States to get an agreement that will be in the interests of Canada, something the leader of the opposition will never get a chance to do.
The honourable member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, the cat's out of the bag. Yesterday, the Liberal leader openly threatened to call an election by Christmas if his budget doesn't pass as is. After zero pre-budget consultations, zero witnesses heard in committee, and zero requests from the opposition entertained, the Liberals are already resorting to blackmail instead of trying to find common ground. Mr. Speaker, Quebecers elected a minority government. Minority means working with the other parties. Why don't the Liberals get down to work instead of threatening elections? The Honourable Government House Leader. Since the member opposite has done me the honor of quoting me, I'm going to give him a little math lesson. The fact is we are a minority government, but we estimate that there are enough votes to give us a mandate to table a budget and propose an economic plan to Canadians. And that includes entering into trade deals with the U.S. Canadians gave us that mandate. The only question is which opposition party is going to opt to send Canadians back to the polls at Christmas. The honourable member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, when the Prime Minister with this mathematician across the way when he said he was reaching out to the opposition, we thought it was to work together, not slap us around. And yet that promise has been broken with the threat of elections. You might say this isn't his only broken promise. He also promised to protect us from Trump. But unlike talks with Trump, the Prime Minister has complete control over budget talks. Mr. Speaker, there are crises in healthcare, quality of life for seniors, housing and home ownership, outdated infrastructure, and so on. Why not work together to resolve these crises instead of threatening elections? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to reassure my honourable and friendly colleague that there's no slapping going on this side of the House. The Prime Minister met with the Bloc leader. The House leader met with the Bloc members. I myself have met with Bloc members to hear their demands for the budget. In the budget, there will be steps around affordability and housing. The Bloc has had their say on how we can help Canadians. The honourable member for Charlebourg.